Good morning. We got some snow last night, huh? I like it. It looks nice out there. I got up quite a while ago, and I got up at 2:30 or so to go to the bathroom, and you could see the trees out our window in the bedroom. They were so pretty. They just had this coating of snow. And then after I got up this morning, big gust of wind came, and boy, I thought it was going to stay windy. I think there is wind out there, but this was a huge gust, and it blew all that snow off the trees. But I got to see it under the moonlight about 2:30, I think it was. So this morning we are going to spend a little time opening up hips. So some stretching, range of motion, kind of awareness in the hip joint. The hip joint's pretty stable, so the head of the femur sits into the acetabulum. The socket is called the acetabulum. There's a lot of ligaments to hold that firmly in place. Ligaments and tendons, you don't want to overstretch them, but you want to keep them hydrated, and movement does that. Like any joint, the movement is what keeps the joint space hydrated. And I say often that energy moves through the body in nadis, according to the yogis, and according to Chinese medicine, we call those meridians. That energy moves through, in some schools of thought, through the connective tissues of like the tendons and the ligaments, the fascia. That makes a lot of sense to me. Keeping all of that hydrated with the movement allows for the flow of energy. So let's focus on the hips, and then we're going to add a little something with the movement of our hips as we move through our practice. So join me on the mat. Let's start in an upright seat, and then we're going to go to our back. We'll do our little breath practice in an upright seat. Use props underneath you if you need to. And feel the sit bones. Let's shift about here from side to side. So the hamstrings, the muscles that extend the leg, extend the hip, attach to these bones, the hamstrings attached to the sit bones. And then tilt your pelvis forward, and then tilt your pelvis back. So we're rocking forward and back on those sit bones. And let's swirl now and touch each one of those bones. Let the breath start to deepen. And then switch directions. And then follow the spiral to a nice tall upright seat where the spine is aligned, joints are aligned, so a seated mountain pose, if you will. So there are 7 major chakras in the body, energy vortexes. The first one's right between those bones down there on the pelvic floor, going all the way up to the crown of the head. There's another one that we don't talk about a lot that hovers above the head. But for today, we'll just refer to the 7 major. We'll do a little breath practice to help wake each one of those up, waking ourselves up in the process, because we're going to focus on the inhale. So we are going to inhale 7 little sips of air to make one big inhale, and then opening the mouth, let it all out. So let's take a cleansing breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. 7 sips of air. When you get to the top, hold, and then let it all go. Let's do 6 more on your own. I've got 2 more. One more. And just pause for a couple of breaths, allowing the breath to be in its natural state, noticing the energy. So the Kundalini energy is at the base of the spine, coiled up like a snake. And in Kundalini yoga, our movements, our breath practices works to unleash that energy traveling right up through the crown of the head. So that breath practice was a little like that, lifting the energy up through each one of the chakras, each one of those energy centers, those energy vortexes. Lie on your back. Let's start right away with some movement. So nice good morning stretch. And then exhale, draw the right knee in. Inhale, good morning stretch. Exhale, left knee in. Keep going this way. Tie the movement with the breath. And if as you're doing this, your ankles want to start moving, your toes want to start moving, let that happen. The fingers and the wrists might want to start moving. Let's do one more each side. Starting to wake up the hips. Last one. Now bend the knees and walk the feet wide, left and right edges. We'll start to do a little windshield wiper action here. With your awareness in the hips. Feel what's going on in the hip socket. Maybe you hear some little pops. That's okay, as long as it doesn't hurt. That's just that very dense, nearly immobile connective tissue of the ligaments, of the tendons. Could also be the joint space. Just needing some hydration. Now come back to stillness and heel toe the feet in line with the hips, in line with those sit bones. Let's open the right knee to the right. Coming into a number 4 shape. First, just push that right knee away and then bend it towards you. So a little butterfly action of the knee. And then push it away and hold it. Lift the thighs towards your belly. You can lace your fingers behind the left thigh or even in front of the left shin. Keep pushing the right knee away. And in addition to pushing it away, kind of reach outward with the knee, making space in the hip. That right ankle might want to move a little bit here. Right toes want to move. Now lace the fingers behind the left thigh if they're not already there and reach up towards the ceiling with the left heel. And we're going to come and go here. So straighten and bend and feel the movement of the hamstrings in your hands. Going to warm up those hamstrings. And then come to stillness and point the left foot and flex the left foot. Keep breathing. Now bend the left knee and we're going to bring the left foot to the mat, but to the left edge of the mat, staying in the number 4 shape. Now we're going to windshield wiper again, dropping the knees to the right. Take your gaze to the left. The right ankle is still on top of the left knee, the left lower thigh. If that's too much in the knee, just uncross. Come back to center, uncross the legs. Let's do a few windshield wipers with the feet wide. And back to center. Heel toe the feet in line with the hips. Open the left knee like the page of a book. Cross the ankle past the thigh and then a little butterfly action of that left hip, left thigh. I think I'm losing my microphone here. Sorry, it's probably noisy right now. And then come to stillness, pushing that left knee away and out. Draw the thighs, just using the power of the legs up towards the belly. And then lace the fingers behind the right thigh or maybe in front of the right shin, drawing you a little deeper into this. You can add some movement to the left ankle, left toes. Lace the fingers behind the right thigh, reach up with the right heel, and let's bend and straighten that leg, waking up the hamstrings, and feel the movement underneath your hands. And extend that leg up long, and then point the toes and flex the foot. And float the foot down to the right edge of the mat. We'll windshield wiper here, knees to the left. So left ankle still on top of the right thigh, right knee. If that's too much, uncross. Breathe. Now uncross, come back to center. Draw both knees into the chest, but draw them wide towards the armpits. Flex the feet. And maybe start rolling through the hips here, massaging the low back as you explore a little range of motion in the hips with the knees wide. Come into happy baby, ease your way into it. Take the hands behind the knees, maybe slide to the shins. Maybe you take the inside of the feet or the big toes. Deepen into this stretch. Keep breathing. Now bring the soles of the feet together. Take the ankles. Use the forearms to push into the shins, opening the knees into a flying Baddha Konasana. So bound angle pose, and then float the feet down to the mat so the little toe edge of the feet arrive. And you can kind of rock here across the sacrum too. And come to stillness. And see if you can invite the release of the hips a bit with your breath. Reach down there and help those thighs lift up. Draw the knees into the chest again, nice and tight. We're going to curl the nose up to the knees and then rock up to a seated position and right over to hands and knees, tabletop. Start some circling through the hips. And then go the other direction. And come to stillness. Let's shift our focus to the spine here, moving through maybe 3 cat-cow in each direction. One more. And then back to stillness. Lift the right knee out. Do some circling through the hips here. Nice and slow. You can bend the knee as you draw the knee towards the armpit and then straighten and reach with the leg as you extend that leg back. Go the other direction. And then we'll switch sides. Left knee bent to begin with, and then you'll get it. You work to kind of straighten that leg as you extend the leg back. Go the other direction. And then back to table. Press down into the mat with the hands. So you're going to push the mat away. I want you to push into the tops of your feet. We're going to hover the shins and the knees off the mat. Feel the core engage. Breathe. And then float the shins down. Sit back in child's pose here and bring the forehead to the mat or to a block or to stacked fists. I think I'm going to bring the block back here for me. Send those hips back by pushing the hands into the mat and then push the mat away. Breathe into the back. And then start kind of twisting with the shoulders. Bring a little bit of twist, especially to the upper back. And pressing back into table. Tuck your toes. Let's find downward facing dog. Wiggle around here. Make some space where there was none. Where you can find some nice stretches after a weekend. And then settle into stillness, but bend your knees a lot. And then again here, using the hands, press the hands into the mat and away, push the belly down onto the thighs. Breathe. On your next inhale, keep your awareness in your hamstrings as you lift those sit bones straight up and reach down with the heels. Feel that nice stretch. You can even wag your tail a little bit here. Breathe. Now swing your right leg back and up. Three-legged dog. Shifting forward into a three-legged plank, bend the knee, bring the left, I think I told you right leg up, whatever leg's up, it's fine. Bring that knee towards your armpit and then back up. And then come forward again, knee towards armpit and back up. And then knee towards armpit. Slide the knee down towards the wrist. And slide the leg behind you back long, coming into a pigeon. You can stay here. In fact, let's stay here. Try to settle into this. Give the tissues, the tendons connect the muscles to the joints, and the ligaments connect bone to bone. So the ligaments kind of wrap around the bone, and the tendons keep the muscles attached to the bone to provide movement. So holding these stretches will make some space in the tendons and the ligaments. Now, when you hold stretches like this, you don't want to let a lot of your body weight sink down into those joint spaces. That's why I've got you on your hands a bit here. But a stretch nonetheless. Now, I've got left leg long. I'm going to bend that knee and bring the heel towards my butt. Now already I'm feeling a stretch in the front of the thigh, the quads. I can reach back. I'm going to reach back with opposite hand. See if I can find my ankle. And then maybe square the shoulders a bit. Feel that stretch in the front of the thigh. And then once you feel into this, maybe you can sink the pelvis a little deeper. Release the shin with control, so you don't want to just launch it back there. And maybe before we leave here, we'll fold forward, supporting the head on a block. Settling into this stretch. Two more breaths. And then come back to a three-legged dog. So tuck the toes of that extended leg, and you may want to crawl forward a little with that foot so you can swing back and up into a three-legged dog. Now bend the knee again and stack the hips. Don't let the shoulders stack. Breathe. Now square the hips again, and we're going to bring the knee towards the nose, so rounding through the back. Now this time I want you to swing back with that leg and do a little donkey kick. We'll do several. This is where we're going to catch some air today. I'm hopping. And then the next time, let's step forward. I've got my right foot coming forward. We're going to come up into warrior one, so about a 45-degree external rotation of that back foot. Hands to heart. Find your warrior one. And breathe. Lift your prayer. Exalted. And back to warrior one. Now come into, a lunge. So I'm going to pivot until I'm on the ball of my left foot. Now this is a bit of a balance challenge. I'm going to straighten my right leg and then come onto the heel of my right foot. Back onto the foot, bend into the knee, come back to the lunge, and then maybe lift into that kind of a pyramid shape onto the heel. Let's go back and forth. Let's do 2 more. One more. Notice how your brain and your body are working and learning. And then bring the hands forward. Find plank. And then find your way to your belly. If you'd like to lower your knees as you come down, feel free. Keep the hands right by the armpits. Tuck the chin. On an inhale, baby cobra. So low ribs stay on the mat. Exhale, come down, tuck the chin. Let's do 4 more. Inhale. And exhale. On these last 3, see if you can hover the hands. So you isolate the movement to the back. You'll also start to feel some contraction in the hamstrings and the glutes. 1 more. Meet me in down dog. My mat's got a mind of its own today. It was crawling away. And you can find some space here. Wiggle around. I rarely come up into a down dog and just stop there. I like to move. Then bring the feet hip distance apart. Bend the knees a lot. Push the hands away. Belly is coming down towards the thighs, maybe even low ribs. Now feel the hamstrings here. And as you inhale, send the sit bones straight up and the heels down. Compare left and right. You may feel a little more space in the one that we were just working. Just stretching. Now swing the other leg back and up. It will be my left. We're going to shift forward, bringing knee towards armpit. Inhale back and up. Let's do 3 more of these. On the third, we'll come into pigeon. That was 1, 2. And then on the third one, start at the armpit and then slide down the leg. Now my right leg, I'm going to start sliding it back and down. Top of the foot's on the mat. Pause here. Notice where you feel sensation and support yourself, but maybe start to sink into it a bit. Find an edge and breathe. So notice, I think awareness is easily brought to that front hip, so your left, but we're also stretching the right. We're stretching the front of the right hip back there. Now bend the right knee, bring the heel towards the butt. Feel that stretch in the quad. And then swing left arm back. See if you can find the ankle. And then maybe square, or at least in that direction, the shoulders to the front edge of the mat. And once you're here, then maybe you can sink into the hips a little deeper. Now without slingshotting that chin, control and float it back down. And take a pigeon with the head supported on the block. And try to settle and release into the hip. And lift the head. If you're using a block, you can toss it off to the side. We're going to come back to a three-legged dog, so chances are you're going to have to scoot forward a little bit. Tuck the toes of the right foot, swing back with the left. Reach way up there. Bend the knee again, stack the hips. Don't let the shoulders stack. Breathe. Now square the hips. We're going to round the back, draw knee towards nose. And now this time we're going to do a little donkey kick. So lift. Let's do several. And the next time we're going to step it through. Bring that left foot forward. Right foot externally rotates a bit so we can come up in warrior one. Hands to heart. Lift your prayer. Exalted warrior. Hands to heart. And come on to the ball of the right foot. Make sure your feet are on railroad tracks. We're going to straighten the front leg and come on to the heel. And then bend into that lunge again. Straighten, come on to the heel. Bend into the lunge. Straighten and come on to the heel. Let's do two more. Doesn't look like it'll be much of a balance problem, but it's new. And then fold forward, find plank. And from plank, just flip your feet so the tops of the feet are on the mat. Now lower the hips, bring the heart forward. You can drop the knees if you want to come into a high cobra, but maybe you want to be an up dog with me. Tuck the toes, downward facing dog. And my mat is just walking all over the place today. Now from down dog, I want you to kick and lift both legs. Just see what you can do. Little donkey kicks. Let's do three more. And then let's walk forward. Two great big steps right to the top of the mat. Plant your feet under your hips and bend your knees a lot. Grab opposite elbows, let's sway. And then drop the hands, let the arms be heavy, head is heavy, and roll up. One vertebrae at a time. And inhale, swing your arms overhead. And exhale, the hands home to the heart. Pause here and just notice. Step your feet wide, left and right edges of the mat. Let's do some hip circles in this shape, but slowly. You can take your hands down to the tops of the thigh bones and feel all that action going on there. Now go the other way. Now walk the feet back underneath the hips again. We'll do a little balance, a little dynamic balance, so some movement with our balance. Shift the weight to the right leg. And I want you to lift your left knee. Now extend that leg out long, reaching with the heel like we did when we were on our back. Now like you're digging a trench with the heel, tip forward into warrior three. Breathe. Kind of airplane arms, hands at heart, by the hips, up by the ears, you decide. 3 more breaths here. See if you can keep the hips square to the mat. Now come back up. Come to staff pose. Now find that number 4. Take a moment to find the balance. And then maybe folding forward into Temple Dancer. Let that hip open. Rising up, we're going to keep the legs crossed, slide the pinky toe edges of the feet to touch. Fold forward here. Fingertips find the floor. Knees can be bent. Now walk your hands to the right corner of the mat. Send your hips to the back left corner of the mat. Breathe. Walk the hands forward. Uncross the feet, lift halfway. Exhale, fold, find plank. Come to the tops of the feet, up dog. And see if you can lift the hips without flipping the feet right away. Get a little stretch in the tops of the feet, then flip to the balls of the feet. And come to down dog. Let's do 5 big donkey kicks, both legs. Last one, and then 2 big steps. Start with the other leg. Lift halfway when you get here. Fall forward and swing your arms out and up. Exhale the hands home to the heart. Let's take our balance on the second side. Weight to the left. Lift the right knee, staff pose. Extend the leg long, keep it lifted. Then we're gonna dig with the heel without touching. Kind of tick-tock forward into Warrior 3. Breathe. Three more breaths. Now come back up without touching if you can, back to staff pose and find your number 4. Find your balance and then decide where you're going to go with this. Now cross the legs, pinky toe edges touch. Knees can be bent a bit as you fold forward. Fingertips find the earth. And walk the fingertips to the upper left corner. Send your hips to the back right corner. Breathe. Unwind the feet. Step back into table. And sit back into child's pose. Knees can be wide or narrow. Breathe. Notice the hips, my legs left and right, from the hips down to the toes, are really awake now. In my body, it feels like energy is flowing. And then rise up, swing the legs around. We're going to come into Dandasana, staff pose. Make sure there's mat behind you. We'll flex the feet, but take the hands behind the hips. Keep the knees bent, lean back here a bit. Draw the elbows towards each other. Feel the shoulder blades come towards the spine. Try to line the ears up over the shoulders even. And then push into the mat. Feel that lightness in the torso as you rise up on the sit bones. Stay here, keeping that sense of an inner curve of the low back, or reach up with the arms. I'm going to bend my knees a bit so I can keep that curve in the low back, inner curve. I don't want to round. And then wherever your hands land. If you pull, you'll keep the pelvis tilted forward, but you gently pull. It's nothing forced. Notice the hamstrings here. Remember I told you they're attached to the sit bones. So if you're not careful, your hamstrings will max out, and then they'll tug on the sit bones and round your low back and strain your lumbar spine. So come into these forward folds with bent knees, and you'll get a much deeper stretch, much more controlled stretch in the hamstrings. Now rise up. We're going to bend the right knee, bring the foot to the mat. Keep the left foot flexed. Act as if you're going to stand on the right foot. Take the left arm around the right knee. Maybe you stay here, or maybe you swing the right arm up and around. Bring the heel of the hand close to your hip. Sit tall on an inhale. On an exhale, twist. Keep the thigh tight to the belly. Now unwind. We're going to take the left leg and take it beyond the midline. So I slid it over to the right. Cross the right foot over the left shin. Sit tall here. You already feel a little different stretch in the back of that left leg. Or maybe you twist. Keep the thigh tight. And now face forward. I'm going to take my hands and turn to the left, bowing down to the left side, rolling onto the left hip. Bend the left knee. Now sit up. You've made room for that right sit bone. It may not touch the mat. It may not be as heavily weighted as the left, but just reach in that direction without leaning in that direction. Maybe you stay here, or maybe you twist. Now unwind. I want you to take the left hand down to the mat, and we're going to lift the hips. So you may want to reach over, lift. This is kind of reminiscent of when we do this from our Upavista position. So let's lift and then come up, sit down and twist. Unwind, lift, sit down and twist. We'll do 3 more. Here's 1. 2, and 3. Now, option to come either into Sukhasana, like we started, or stack the knees and come into cow face knees, Gomukhasana. And take a minute here, adjust around. Take your big toes with your peace sign fingers. Again, we've got that. In fact, lift the heart forward. Add a little back bend. And then from here, fold at the hips. And then let the head hang. And breathe. And then rise up. Take the hands behind you. We're going to unwind. We'll be back to Dandasana again. So the same routine. We're going to push down, lighten up the torso on the sit bones as we fold forward. Bend the knees if you need to. Reach up, fold forward. Pachimottanasana. Hold here. Maybe you start to straighten the legs a bit. Keeping the sensation in the hamstrings, not the low back. And rise up, bend the left knee. Keep a little space between the foot and the thigh. Taking a twist here. Breathe. Unwind, right leg goes past the midline, left foot up and over, sit tall. And twist. Unwind. We're going to bow down to the right side now. Bend the knee. Come back up. And twist. And we'll take that flow. So right hand comes down. You lift the hips. Got a watch my candles, and then down. Let's take our twist, up and over. Three more. Last one. Take your twist and Sukhasana or cow face knees. Grab your big toes. Maybe you stay here. Take a back bend before you start your forward fold. And then once the belly gets to the thighs, you can just let go in this if you like. Breathe. And then rise up. Find your way to your back. And let's take a happy baby again. Hips should be really nice and open. Maybe remember how it felt when we did this first thing. You can do a little movement here, stretching the legs, bending the legs. And then settle into stillness. Find your shape for Shavasana. And breathe. Maybe bring some awareness into the sensation of the pelvis, the hips, the thighs. Begin to move the body in small ways. And add a good morning stretch. And draw the knees into the chest. And rock from elbow to elbow. Massage the low back. And then find your way to a seated position. I'm going to rock up. It's daylight out there, but it's very gray and wintry looking. I hope you have a good day. Perhaps you have today off. I'll be teaching a few classes at the Y today. Let's breathe one more time together. Inhale, grab some snowflakes. As you exhale, draw the hands home to the heart. May you have peaceful thoughts, peaceful words, a peaceful heart, and a peaceful world. Namaste. I'll see you Friday morning, 7 a.m. Have a great week. Bye-bye. Go out and play in the snow.